Welcome back to Garage Shop Science. In the last video, I installed the roof. This should be the last video before this thing's actually complete. What's left to do is to build and install the doors, to paint the sides, and to do some finishing touch-up work such as the headboard in here and some wiring stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to start with the doors. Before we can install the doors, there's three pieces of wood here. There's the 2x2, the outer siding plywood, and the inner plywood. Not all of them are perfectly lined up. I'm going to saw them so that they are lined up as close as possible, and then I'm going to sand them down to be really, really smooth, and then I'm going to start building the doors, but that's going to give me a really good base to mount the doors to. Before I start building the doors, I help my wife prep the headboard. The headboard is going to be made out of 3 panels. Each panel is going to be cloth wrapped around foam-covered pegboard. So I start by cutting down 3 sheets of pegboard to equal sizes, and then cut and glue foam to the pegboard. While the glue is drying, I get back to building the doors. The doors are going to be made out of plywood squares that were cut out of the sides, along with stained 1x boards on the inside. Each door is also going to have a lockable latch and a window. My plan is to cut out a hole for the window, mount the window, then prep the outside panel for the latch, then glue and nail the interior boards to the exterior panel. My first delay came when I went to install the window. I accidentally purchased what is called a J-lap flanged window. This means that I had a flange in the middle of the window, and it made it impossible to install it the way I wanted. My solution was to bend 3 sides of the flange, install the window, then hammer the flange back down. This wasn't the greatest solution, but it worked. My next issue was my latch. The latch was designed to be used on fiberglass or aluminum RV doors. These doors have hollow space on the inside and thin exterior edges. So I had to mill part of the plywood and part of the 1x board to make the latch fit. After I got past these issues, I could put the finishing touches on the door and install them. I install each door with a piano hinge, and while I'm building the doors, my wife painted the entire exterior of the trailer with 3 coats of white outdoor paint. With the trailer painted, I can also install the electrical box at the front of the trailer. This large aluminum box is designed to be installed in a truck bed, but should be perfect for the front of the trailer. I start by prepping the wires that will feed into the box. Since a small section of these wires will be outside of the trailer and outside of the box, I need to make sure they're 100% waterproof. With the wires ran and sealed, I bolted it to the trailer frame, installed a battery in a battery box, and installed a custom battery charging system. This battery charging system will charge the battery and power any 12-volt devices on the inside when I'm plugged into AC power. When I'm not plugged into AC power, all the 12-volt devices on the inside, such as the lights and the ceiling fan, will power off the battery. The final large project was to finish the headboard panels. We wrapped them with cloth, cut the cloth to the desired size, flipped the board, stapled the cloth to the back of the pegboard, then using large nail heads, we nailed them up on the interior. We measured and placed the nails in locations so that the indent the nail created is symmetric and looked natural. All that was left was small tasks, such as the ceiling fan edging, some smaller electrical work, new tires, adding the bed, and adding gasketing to the doors. For some unexplainable reason, I waited until I had the trailer fully built, including the bed installed, to install the gasketing around the doors. The doors had fairly large gaps all the way around, so I ended up installing gasketing on both the exterior and interior. With the trailer complete, I take it out on its first trip to a weigh station. Relay. So this is with the trailer attached. This is the vehicle only. So you'll see trailer is 1,400 pounds, plus there's a difference of 140 pounds from the vehicle. So that means 1,540 pounds total on the drive vehicle and 140 pounds on the tongue. So it has been 4 months since we finished our trailer right here. So With that 4,000 miles of travel, we've also gained some experience, learned some things about it, made some minor changes since we had very first built it. So let's go through a tour of it. So in our front box here, some rugs for outside of the doors, skewers for fires, a large plastic rug for the back. We also have power cable, axe for splitting wood. I have all the tools in here so that if we are on the road and something were to happen, we can actually completely replace a hub on the road. We can only do that with one hub. We don't carry two sets of bearings, but we do have one complete set of bearings and all the tools and the grease and gloves and everything, so that I can actually replace a hub on the road if worse came to worse. The electrical charging system right here and the battery have been amazing. When we're traveling, or when it's in storage, or we're traveling and not using electric, I leave the battery unplugged just so that it's nothing in there is just constantly draining. So moving on to the inside, we obviously don't have our bed made right now, but there's only been one thing we've done to the inside. So we have our air conditioner over there. We have an interior electrical outlet. So if we're camping this winter, which we do plan on doing some camping this winter, we can plug in a small electric heater or something set on the shelf up here. The only change we've done on the inside is we made some curtains for the windows. We are going to make these kind of just free float, and so they make it hard to close the door. So we're going to make some snaps that are going to hold it in place all the way down, so it makes it easier to close the door and hold them in place. These have been amazing. They're just a standard curtain that my wife sewed, so they're double thick, so they don't let any light in. Other change we have made on the inside, besides the curtains, are these hooks. We put some hooks all over the place. So you can see on the other side, there's 3 hooks there. There's some small hooks by the air conditioner for keys and such. Yeah, we put these little hooks everywhere, and these have been amazing. But that's pretty much the only thing we've done on the inside. The interior is amazing. This thing is so comfortable. It's so much better than a tent. It does hold heat in like crazy. If it's above 55, 60 degrees, more than likely we're opening windows and turning that fan on. So onto the back. We have added some lights. So we added more lights to it because we felt these lights on the side with where it's at, it can make it really hard to see, hard to tell whether we're turning or not. So we wanted those. So we have 4 lights across the back. I added a lockable hasp right here and a handle on each side. So back in the galley area, there haven't been a whole lot of changes. We put a cord up here with just some eyelets that go across, and we put some hooks on this side. So these hooks here, we can hang anything we're cooking with. So if we're using some spatulas and stuff back here, we can just hang those there. These we've been using for towels, specifically just like our shower towels. So after we're done showering, we need a place to hang it up. We can just hang those there if we haven't strung any lines throughout the campground. I let this just sit back here kind of free floating. That's a 5-gallon water jug, because once I close it, it can't go anywhere. And we've been using these holes here. This is our cooking stove, and it just so happens to fit in there just perfect. And we got a tea kettle for boiling water if we need to. We're making coffee. We got some extra line. This side here, that there, my wife sealed it with a food grade sealant, and she's actually been using this as a cutting board. So it's like a cutting board to go. I mean, I don't know if you can see the cutting marks on it, but so yeah, this has become an awesome storage spot down there. This side here, we got 2 chairs, and that's really all that's in there. So we have a decent amount of storage in there, but we aren't using it to its max capacity. So there you have it. There's a tour of our trailer. We haven't done a ton of modifications to it since we built it, because it seemed to work really well. So we have driven, like I said, 4,000 miles. We built this 4 months ago. That's when we finished it. In the past 4 months, we've driven to the Badlands and the Black Hills, both in South Dakota. That trip there was about a 2,200 mile trip. Then we drove to Asheville, North Carolina, where I did some mountain biking. We stayed the night there for a night. And then we've also drove to Kentucky area. So we've been trying to get around, and we look forward to taking it around this winter. It hauls great. We have a little 4-cylinder RAV4. The RAV4 is a little underpowered for this. We really should have a V6. But with that 4-cylinder, we're able to do 65 miles an hour on the interstate and still be able to get around 16 miles per gallon. So that's been excellent. If you are considering making a teardrop trailer or designing your own, and you have any questions, feel free to ask down in the comments. I am by no means an expert on them, but I have learned quite a bit through this, and this thing's been awesome. I definitely would recommend it to anyone who is thinking about it. If you've already got a vehicle capable of hauling a teardrop trailer, or something like this, this is the way to go. And I have some other ideas on how I would do it differently depending on the vehicle I had available to me. If I had a larger vehicle that can tow a little bit more, there's definitely ways I would do it that would give me more space for less money. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have built a teardrop trailer, if you're considering building one, if you have any questions about this one, any questions about hauling, places to go, ways to find places you're going to stay. We're still learning all that stuff too. So if you have any advice for us, let us know down in the comments. And thanks for watching.